Alright, today we're going to talk about the Roosevelt dime, and the way that the Roosevelt dime came about was the Mercury dime had run 25 years already, and they were kind of thinking about we should change the design up, but they didn't really have a design set, so they didn't have anything set in stone to go, hey, we're going to change this. And I believe it went until 1945, so I believe that was 29 years. So it ended up going past the 25. And at this point, President Franklin Roosevelt had passed away. And they then decided that that was the way they were going to replace the coin. They were going to replace it by tributing Franklin Roosevelt, FDR. So that was what ended up happening. Is in 1946 they decided to just throw FDR's image on the coin, and that was kind of how it came about. And of course they started in silver, and then in 1965 they got rid of silver. So this is all silver here, you can see. Just common date silver coin. So they started them in silver, and in 1965 they pulled the silver out, and then again they started making proofs again in 1992. They started doing some silver proof sets again, so now you can get silver ones again. But that's pretty much how it started, and they just did it to tribute for Roosevelt, which is why that happened. So let's talk a little bit about the design of the Roosevelt. The front of it has a portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It has "In God We Trust" to the left side, "Liberty" along the side, and it has the date down in the corner. And the reverse of the coin has a 1 cent, a 1 dime on the bottom, "E Pluribus Unum" kind of across the middle, United States of America across the top, and it has a torch with some olive branch pieces and some other branches, and that's the design of the Roosevelt dime, and it's still the same way today. Alright, the designer initials are on the obverse of the coin, and it is right at the point of the neck. Underneath the neck you will see a JS. On this coin they put JS, which stood for John Sinnock, and then they later changed it on the Franklin half and made it JRS for a reason which we'll get into in the designer. Alright, this coin was designed by John R. Sinnock, and just a little bit about him. I don't want to get too much into him, but he was the 8th chief engraver of the United States Mint, and he designed Roosevelt dime and Franklin half dollar. And he was educated at the Philadelphia Museum School of Industrial Art, and for 10 years he was an art instructor at Western Reserve University, and he was appointed the assistant chief engraver in 1923, and he ended up taking over that position from Morgan in 1925. And he designed some pretty decent designs. There is the Franklin half dollar, and here's the Roosevelt dime, which he designed. So he did some very decent stuff. So I'll just kind of leave it for that, but it was John R. Sinnock that designed the coin. Alright, the specifications of the Roosevelt dime. There were two varieties. The first variety from 1946 to 1964 was 2.5 grams, was 90% silver, 10% copper, and was 0.07234 ounces of pure silver, so just like the Mercury and the Barber dimes. And it was 17.9 millimeters in diameter with a reeded edge. And then in 1965 they removed the silver, so what they did was they changed it a little bit and ended up becoming 2.27 grams in weight, an outer core of 75% copper, 25% nickel, and an inner core of pure copper, and the size stayed the same at 17.9 millimeters, and it kept the reeded edge. And then when they came back out with the proofs in 1992, they used the original composition that you would have seen in the version 1 of the Roosevelt dime, which was 90% silver, 10% copper. Alright, mint marks and locations. On the old Roosevelt dimes from 1946 to 1964, the mint mark is on the back of the coin, and you'll notice it right here to the left of the torch. You'll see the S. So the mint mark would be on the back of the coin for the old ones, and they made them at the Philadelphia with no mint mark, the Denver with a D, and the San Francisco with an S. And they were all circulation issues. Then when they started doing the new ones, they moved it to the front of the coin, so if you notice underneath, right up above the 85, the year, you'll see the S. And this happens to be a proof one, by the way. They moved it to the front of the coin, and it was the same mints. They did add a P to the front. I believe in 1982 was when they added that. But they added a P for Philadelphia, then they would have a D for Denver and an S for San Francisco. They also made a special one at the West Point Mint that had a W in 1996, which we can get into later. Alright, mintages. All the coins, all circulation strike coins, very, very common. You can build the entire silver set even, and uncirculated, for very little money, basically just over the melt of the silver. They're not huge money. The only ones in the entire series that do get a little bit on the higher side is from 1950 to 1955, the silver proofs were well under 100,000 each year, so those ones do go for $30–40 a piece. And also the silver proofs in the later dates, the 92s, the now, some of those are a little bit harder to come by. But all of the other regular ones, all very, very common to get. Alright, so now the key dates to the series are going to be the 50 to 55 proofs, as we mentioned. They also have a 1960 double die obverse, a 1963 double die reverse, a 1964 D double die reverse. Then there's in 1971 and 1979 and 1981. They had Type 1s and Type 2s of all of the proof coins, and just like in some of the other ones that you will see, the Type 2 proofs are the rarer of those. There was also a 1982 no mint mark for the Philadelphia Mint because they started adding them, and there were some that didn't get the mint mark. And there's also the 96 West Point, which is the W one. I forgot to tell you the mintage on that, which I apologize. I will tell it to you right now. The mintage on that coin was it was just under $1.5 million, but it was only issued in the mint sets. So that's why it goes for decent money. They sell for about $15-$20 a piece, just for that coin. But that's the Roosevelt dime series in a nutshell. Very, very affordable series to collect. Unless you want to get really picky and get into those double dies and those kind of things, you can do the whole set very, very affordably. So thanks for watching another episode, and just keep supporting us. We love it, and we'll see you next time.